Getting you set for week number 4 of the high school football season. Caledonia last week hosted Triton. Head coach Carl Fruechte joining us, and you expected a battle. You expected a dogfight. If you like really good defensive football, you saw a pretty good defensive football game last Friday night. Unfortunately, things didn't go your way, Coach. What were your takeaways from last Friday?
Well, yeah, I mean, defensively, I thought we did okay. Offensively, I felt like we left a lot of plays, on the field. You review the tape, and Coach Zach Hauser called a good game. There was yardage and plays to be made, touchdowns to be had, and again, um, I'd like to think it's because our kids were doing some good stuff, but at the end of the day, you just gotta make those plays. That's I always talk about every game comes down to 4 or 5 plays. You just don't know when they're at. Everybody thinks it's the last, right, the last 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. It's not. I mean, we had opportunities we felt earlier in the game, and we let them slip, and again, all you can do is keep coaching and keep pointing them out. And and our defense did fine, of course, but there was a couple plays there too where it's like we got to get better at, you know, defending the pass and making sure we keep quarterback in the pocket. And that Brandon's doing a great job at Triton, Darren, but you know, we knew what they were going to do, and we just got to do a better job. And of course, that starts with me as the head coach.
When it comes to situations like this, in general, and maybe exclusively last Friday night, what's the difference between maybe an execution, making a 5 yard play, a 15 yard play? What's the difference in smoothing out some of those edges that maybe those opportunities to make some plays? How do you get to the point where you're making those plays as compared to not?
Yeah, I think it's in. I like to talk a lot about doing the simple things great. Some of our blocking schemes were right on, but we flat out just took a bad angle, go getting the kid. We talked about it and we talked about it, and of course we reviewed it Saturday and other things too. You get off by 6 inches and you're playing a good athlete, right? You got to understand that leverage goes until the whistle. You can't just hit a guy or think be it offense or defense or special teams. It's got to be all the way through. And I just think for whatever reason right now we're missing that. But I think we're really close, honestly, Darren. And I like our kids. I like them a lot. Obviously, I'm frustrated, but I like our group. It's they're good kids, Darren. We just got to finish it out and understand that it's 7 seconds every play against every opponent, and that's something we just got to keep talking about. We talk a lot about my son Isaac and I talk a lot about you got to do hard stuff, and sometimes I wonder about this new generation of kids. Are we doing hard stuff? And you know, so we just got to keep doing hard stuff and maybe a little bit harder and a little bit smarter.
And when it comes to doing hard stuff, it's also up to us adults to expect kids to do hard stuff too, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it starts with the mind, right? It starts with the brain. It starts with your work ethic. Sometimes, right? I mean, if you look at every school right now, Darren, we're all frustrated with our lack of numbers. I mean, all of us. I know all the coaches in this area. They're all working hard to get kids out. We're trying to get more kids back out, right? The couch and the computer is killing us. But sometimes somehow you got to fight it, right? So then you got low numbers, and it's not like my day back in the '80s where you killed everybody on Monday through Thursday, and then you went and played Friday. So everything's really with your feet and hands, and understand gap integrity, keeping guys up and understanding that you got to work the brain to get where you belong on whatever three sides of the ball you're playing. And to be quite honest, Darren, I think that's hard for this generation, but that's our job is to get them to understand that. So again, it's better. I've been spoiled, Darren. I like our kids. I've always liked our kids, and so you know, Monday was tough. Saturday to be honest, I talked to him like a grandfather. I would say dad, but now that I'm a grandfather, but we just got to keep punching, keep fighting, keep working.
And here in the early week of practice, you mentioned your team-wise, you watched the film on Saturday. How have your guys responded to those lessons that really only the film can teach you?
I, right? I mean, I want to say good, but then I can't because we're still having brain farts out on a Friday night. You know what I mean? So,
Okay.
we have our kids take notes, and I go through all their notes, and their notes are amazing, really detailed, really good stuff. And now this is where when you go into the science of the brain of, okay, are you really comprehending what you're putting down? Because what you're putting down is really good stuff. Now I got to see that on the field come Friday night. So um, that's something we're really trying to, here's what you said, and you're right. Now come, let's go do it.
And how do you work practice to during a week like this to make sure that yes, I wrote down what I need to write down. How do you go about putting that into practical application throughout the week of practice?
Well, that's my job, and the other coach's job is to, like, hey, Hunter Frank put this down. It's an awesome note. Hunter, make sure now when you're going in today here at practice, this is what you're doing. You got to give them reminders, and hey, Will, this is what you wrote down, Will Allen. Great note, great idea, great read. Now we got to do it. You got to take it to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and of course, yeah, Friday. So, yeah, just they actually, when I read their notes, Darren, I get really jacked up and really pumped because there's just awesome stuff there, and it gives me a lot of hope. And again, to me, this is bigger than football too. This is what people don't get, because we used to hear for years, why do you make them take notes? Well, we take notes in history class, English class. The brain is wired that way, and so like I said, I feel good about it. I like what our kids are writing down, and that is extremely important to me.
And the fact that they're writing down good stuff and seem to understand what they're not doing or are doing on film, does that give you some confidence that most importantly, there's a desire to improve, right?
There is a desire, there is a hurt. You can tell that they're not happy, um, which they shouldn't be happy, right? We shouldn't be happy. We're 1-2. I don't think we've ever been in this position before. But you know what? There's only really one way to go, and that's up. I mean, the world will tell you, well, you can either feel sorry for yourself and cry, or you can buck up and let's go. And that's what I feel we're going to do now. you know, every school we're playing is doing a great job. Del Riota, coach, I love what he's doing up there. Nobody's going to just lay down, right? And that's what I love about our conference, our section. The football continues to get better, and that's a good thing, and we love that. And I feel like we're right there. We just got to make plays and just go do it.
And what you took away from last Friday night, anytime you only give up 13 points, that's putting yourself in a pretty good position to win. Now, you mentioned there's probably a couple of plays on the defensive end you could have made that didn't happen to you. But would you say that side of the ball probably graded out a little bit more than
Oh
your
yeah,
offense did
yeah.
last week?
I mean, I hate to say that this way, Darren, but yeah, obviously, we got to do a better job offensively. We got to have a little bit more desire to stay with blocks, make plays. Are you, can you go a little bit harder? Can you run a little bit faster? And I'll be honest with you, Darren, I'm a little bit more disappointed with our special teams.
Okay.
We talk a lot about they're called special for a reason. And, again, we've been blessed to have a lot of guys go on to play in the college and a few, two guys in the pros where they just wanted to get on the field. And a lot of times, right, the people that are in the pros playing special teams, that's their ticket. And then it helps them to get better at offense or defense or wherever they are. And sometimes I hate how high school kids take special teams, not, it's just a fill in. No, 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 no. It is a serious, serious job. And yeah, I think we're missing some opportunities in special teams, to be real honest with you, Darren.
And what specifically needs to get better in that aspect of your game?
Attention to detail, understanding when we put in our schemes on special teams, be it whatever, kickoff, kick return, punt return, 2 point plays, extra points, all that sort of stuff, the attention to details. Again, I'm a big, obviously most people know my son's at North Dakota. I love, the Fighting Hawk, and I love listening to PJ and Eric Schmidt. And those two guys get it. And Schmidt talked a lot about all the little opportunities that North Dakota missed against Montana. He sounds just like us, Darren. You got to take advantage of it. Guys, catching the ball but not realizing you got to run out of bounds to save the clock, right? And it's the same thing in high school. It's the little things like, hey, we're returning the ball here. I know it's not on your side of the ball, but it's that backside that's going to catch us if you don't do your job. So it's all important. And yeah, again, I know I sound like a broken record, Darren, but we just got to keep talking and coaching and encouraging. And we've made it very clear to the guys that we believe in them. Right? That's when you're down, you got to really praise them and build them up, and we mean it. I'm not filling them full of poo. It's what I really, really, really believe. And when you're doing really well, sometimes you gotta humble them a little bit, right? That's just sort of coaching 101. And like I told them, I wouldn't trade them for anybody in this state, Darren. And that's just the way I feel. And people can think I'm crazy. That's okay. I've been called Crazy Carl for a long time.
And being the fact you're using the broken record saying vinyl's getting back into play, so I think more
Yeah,
people understand that
yeah,
nowadays. So.
I probably shouldn't use that word because any young people are like, "What's he talking about?" So I'm showing my age, but
Hey, there's more records getting back into music. So hey, it's a
good.
what's old is new again. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. So,
and you make the trip to Dover Iota coming up on Friday night. What's the expectations going into that one?
I mean, right? Our standard is a standard, right? It doesn't change, Darren. And again, coach is doing a great job up there at Dover Iota. I mean, we're watching them on tape, and it was a heck of a game between them and Rochester Lords, and all the other previous games. Again, I've always believed you always respect your opponent. You take one game at a time, and um, I expect a hard fought game. But I like I keep saying, I believe in our kids.
All right. Well, hopefully you can take a step forward coming up this Friday night, Coach, and get back on the winning track. Keep your guys healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you much.
Carl Fruechte, head coach of the Caledonia Warriors. Warriors traveling to Dover Iota coming up on Friday night.